What's up, everybody? Nonpon here, and we're gonna make a logistics guide. There's been a influx of new players here joining Snowbreak, which I'm very happy about. However, I feel like this one right here, this logistics option right here, can be confusing for some new players. For reference, these are all the logistics that we have had in the past events. More often than not, these logistics are used for the character that came out at the time. However, with a bunch of new players coming in and a bunch of events that have passed, it may not be straightforward of which these logistics should go to, right? And we're just gonna go through the list here, and I'm gonna give you guys an explanation of which logistics you should use on which character, because it's been almost a year, right? It's been almost a year. So let's start with the Mingyi squad over here. This was the first logistics that came out with 5-star Xinye. It was the first ever event we have, and the first ever event logistics we've ever had to farm. This logistics will increase your ballistic damage by 24%, which is pretty decent. And the 3-piece is when doing electrical damage, increases attack of the Enigma and Operative by 1% for 3 seconds, max 45 stacks. Repeated triggers will reset the duration. So, I mean, if you were there at the time, right, it would probably be a no-brainer that Xinye should use that logistics. I actually would not use that logistics on Xinye for a couple of reasons. In order for that logistics to be more powerful than the Amano squad, it's killing me. I can't find my logistics because they changed them all to the placeholders. I would actually recommend using the Amano squad because 98% of the time, it's a rough estimate, but like 98% of the time, this logistics will beat out the Mingyi squad. The only way for the event logistics to be better than this is if you have like pure, like almost max stats and you play in a very specific way. And even then it's like very slightly percent powerful than just Amano. So in my opinion, I would not farm that logistics. I would just slap Amano on Xinye, and it's easier to get because you can buy it from the shop. I would just do that. Absolutely meta invest. God, you guys are trolls right now. With that one out of the way, we have the second logistics, the second event logistics. This is the Akitsu squad right here. Akitsu squad came out with the Haru event. Haru is a mobbing character, a mobbing kinetic character, which is one of my favorite characters. 2-piece will increase skill damage by 24%, and 3-piece is a mouthful. Basically, the more you hit with skills, the more attack and kinetic damage you will do. So it's a no-brainer that because 5-star Haru, which I will pull up on screen, is the best choice for this logistics because she can actually like spam, right? She can spam her skill pretty often and get a lot of kills because she's mostly a mobbing character. Haru, I did farm the Akitsu squad. I did farm it. If you do want to commit to this set, you can go for attack percent, skill haste, and kinetic damage. However, this is still pretty expensive to farm, especially as a new player. So in my opinion, I feel like the logistics you should farm as a newer player, if this character ever comes around again, is the Thebes squad. So this one will increase your skill damage by 24%, and each time you use a standard skill, your attack will go up for 5 seconds, max 20 stacks, and if you use a skill every 5 seconds, you'll keep those max stats, right? So I feel like Thebes squad is a good alternative if you want to farm it that way. You can go for Akitsu if you want to. Again, try to aim for attack percent, skill haste, and kinetic damage. Those are all pretty solid. Okay, Amarna squad is definitely the most relevant event logistics. This thing can go on multiple characters. It's a very, very good support logistics. 2-piece will increase your HP by 20%, which for most characters that's irrelevant, unless you're 4-star Cherno or Boxer. 3-piece is when a support skill is used, full squad gains a buff that increases their bullet damage, ballistic damage for 15 seconds, which is nice. If they deal skill damage, they will also gain 20% attack for 1.5 seconds. So this basically should be used by a support that can hit at least every 1.5 seconds. Because if you do it that way, you're getting your ballistic damage and you're getting your constant attack buff, right? So like Kaguya, right, with her multi-hitting support skill. You can use 5-star Moxer because her puppet also deals damage over time. Any character that can pretty much do constant support damage should be running this one. And it is a really good set. It is a really good set. I would farm one that has, if you have Moxer, she wants HP. And when you get her eventually, if you're ever going to get her, you're going to want HP for her Manifestation 3. Because her Manifestation 3 will make it so the more HP she has, the longer her puppet can stay out for. So this is something to work for, right? So you'll probably want a set that has HP at least, maybe a set that also has like, I don't know, a lemon index or skill haste to use the skills more often, right? But regardless, I would pick up a good set of these, maybe even multiple sets. It's definitely worth farming. People run this thing all the time. It's a really good logistics. All right, what's this one called? God, I have a hard time pronouncing this. Hjartagard Squad, Hjartagard Squad, whatever. I feel like this one is only really used for tests. I feel like this is just a one and done. I don't see this being used for any other operative. This pretty much will increase ultimate recovery, and every time an operative uses their ultimate skill, it will provide buffs, just to dumb it down a bit, which is really nice, right? But I feel like Tess, because her ultimate costs 0 energy, and her ultimate is just making sure that you can get your ultimate, I feel like she's like the only character that can probably use this, right? Unless there's other characters I don't know about that use the squad, but I'm pretty sure the only reason you would ever farm this logistics is for Tess. For this one, try to get ultimate recovery if you can. More ultimate recovery of Tess is always going to be good. Ellie Squad? Ellie Squad. Okay, so this logistics is definitely meant for Katya, and the reason for it is because it's beneficial to characters that can't crit, right? And the only character that can't crit right now is Katya, because she's using a crossbow. Crossbows cannot crit in this game. Can't crit and frost? Yeah, can't crit and frost. So it's basically designed for Katya. And for substats, definitely go for frost percent and attack percent. Alignment index is good too. Lux Squad. We just got this one, right? This is Echel's. Echel's logistics came back super fast. Okay, so this is basically a healing logistics, right? Increases healing effect by 24%. The equipping operative does not include auxiliary units, obtains winter fleece effect. Healing bonus increases by 5%. Blah, 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 blah. So basically, if the character can heal, it will be able to heal even more, right? And Echel kind of scales very well off healing percent, right? You could technically run this on 4-star Xinye if you want to. It's not nearly as powerful on her as it used to be, because they adjusted it a bit. So you could technically run this for Xinye if you want to, because she can heal with her support skill, and that will increase the healing even more, if you would like to. I think there's better choices. But ultimately, it's meant for Echel here. Echel scales very well off healing percent and will help buff you better when she has more of that. So let's go ahead and cover some other popular logistics that you can find in the shop and farm. In the Underground Purge shop, you can buy a couple of different items, revision applications and carbon atomic plates. I'm going to be honest, man, there's only one logistics here in this shop that's actually relevant, and that's the Navigator squad. Right, this logistics is really damn good. After applying a control effect to the target, damage taken by the target increases by 14% for 10 seconds. That's really damn good, right? That basically is going to make it so your main DPS is going to do more damage for 14 seconds. I think that's a final percent too, like that's a final multiplier. So you can use like 4-star Redacted or Acacia, because she can inflict slow-mo on an enemy, and on like lots of bosses too. She can inflict the slow-mo effect, and because she does that, she will make it so your main DPS can do 14% more damage. So when it comes to the Underground Purge shop, I wouldn't really bother with the other logistics. It's been almost a year, and none of these have been relevant with anything. They have not been used like much at all. Even the Usha squad with auxiliary type strengths, auxiliary characters have not been relevant yet. So if you're looking for something to buy in this shop, pick up a Navigator squad and slap it on Redacted, or other characters too if you want. skill haste is fine. Guys, I actually need help here. The Dharma squad, who uses this right now? This is for Marion, right? This is Marion, right? Marion Swift is the only one that can use the Dharma squad because she does a lot of ballistic damage, and she's able to use her standard skill pretty often, similar to Haru. But instead of increasing her skill damage, it's going to increase her bullet damage. You can also you can reset this, can't you? Yeah, you can reset this. It's not just 5 seconds. You can hold a charge on these too. I use it on Life Wild Hunt. Okay, I can kind of see that. I mean, you can still use her skill pretty often. So any character that can use a skill pretty frequently can probably run the Dharma squad. As long as they can use it within 5 seconds, right? We already talked about the Thebes squad. Thebes squad here is mostly used for Haru. You know, some people were trying to run this with the new Cherno, but I think her event logistics is way better. I would just run that because I know she can technically do damage every 5 seconds with a support skill or any skill. I would still run her event logistics. I would not run this on 5-star Cherno. I would definitely run this on 5-star Haru though, if you do get her. So this logistics will increase the ultimate skill damage by 33%. And increases damage dealt by 46% 10 seconds after using an ultimate skill. There's only one character in this game that can use an ultimate longer than 10 seconds. I think. I don't know. Frisha Hush, there are a lot of Hush players that they're in the laboratory, dude. They're making sure that they're getting their late fees from Blockbuster, okay? They are renting out movies and never giving it back, okay? I have seen people ult with this character. I feel like it can go up to 30 seconds. They are insane. The amount of work Hush players put into making sure they can ult forever is hilarious. But yes, I feel like if you are gonna use Fenya squad, you're gonna want to use it on Frisha Hush because she will use her ultimate longer than 10 seconds, and trust me, she would just keep going and do more and more damage over time, right? So, yeah, the fritter min-maxers, the fritters know how to cook, man. They know how to do a laser beam. If you do get it on her, thermal damage is what you're gonna go for. Attack percent, I'm assuming too. Oof, the Moira squad. This is another logistics that has not made a dent anywhere. I don't even think this can even be used by 4-star Xinye, right? Healing bonus. It is not affected by auxiliary unit healing bonus. Chat, you're wrong. Chat, you're wrong. It doesn't work with her. It doesn't even work with 4-star Xinye. It's for Yao. Does Yao work? Does it work for 4-star Yao? Let's see. This counts auxiliary unit type healing. It is not affected by Yao healing bonus. Okay. So it can be used for 4-star Yao for some reason. It cannot be used for 4-star Xinye. Regardless, people have not been using this anyway. Unless you really need that extra healing. I would not run the Moira squad. The Koffman squad, now hear me out, okay? The Koffman squad, listen, all right guys, listen. The Koffman squad, so when shields are active, increases ballistic damage by 32% and decreases the damage you take by 10%. Now hear me out, man. This logistics, okay, has untapped potential. And what I mean by that is that the artwork is really good. That's it. The artwork's really good. People don't use this one. But no, people have not used the Koffman squad for an entire year. Shield acquisition has not been that relevant. Technically, you can use it for Nita if you want to get some more shields, but there's better options. So the next logistics I'm going to talk about are probably used very often. The Amano squad right here is used a lot. The base logistics you can farm, this one has been the most relevant. It has been used more than any other standard logistics because it's super good. It will increase your bullet damage, and after you hit a crit, so you hit a weak point, your ADS, which is aim down sights, some people don't know that, will increase by 10%, max by 5 stacks. So this logistics has been used on so many DPS characters, okay? Even just starting out, this is still one of the best options you can use because the majority of characters will use their guns and shoot and aim down sights, right? There's a lot of skill-based characters too, but the majority of the time, this has been the most relevant logistics you can possibly farm. There's always event logistics and stuff that might be a better alternative, but if you want to use something for your main DPS, you can't go wrong with this. Obviously, when you get this logistics, get 10% attack and then just the element of the character that is using the logistics. So like for Yao, you want thermal damage, right? 5-star Yao. For Fenya, 5-star Fenya, you want electric damage. Twilight Squad will decrease targets' resistances, right? It's super good. Okay, this is really good for a support character. So let me show you. I'm going to use Fresha here, and you'll see like a bunch of like these shield icons on these characters, right? And they're constantly being reapplied because they're burning. So that means that they're going to be able to take more fire damage because we just lower the resistance. Any support character that you want to use that can hit pretty often would use the Twilight Squad. All right, and the last one here is the Genji Squad. Now, this is another logistics for the fritter enjoyers, for the Fresha Hush enjoyers. This lets you get more ultimate energy. It will increase your ultimate recovery, and it will increase the maximum amount of ultimate energy you can hold at one point. So again, with Fresha Hush, she wants to ult for as long as possible. If you have more ultimate that you can hold, you can ult longer with the Fenya squad, right? Now, a couple things to note. This can stack, but only the 2-piece officer. And what I mean by that is that this will increase the maximum amount of energy you can hold by 32%. If you have it on one character, right? If you have it on another character, this will go up to 64%. You can have 64, not 64%, but 64 more ultimate energy that you can hold. So that does stack. However, the last one does not stack. Increases the U energy recovery of the squad by 28%. This does not stack. Stackable, but only for the 2-piece. It's mostly used for Hush enjoyers. Speaking of Hush enjoyers, I know another logistics that they farm. It's a 4-star logistics, actually. Well, I guess they're living up to their name, the Phantom Squad, because you can't see who they are. Okay, so this one is also really good. This will increase your ultimate recovery by 21%, but the last part's also good. It increases your, it gives you 1.5 ultimate energy every 5 seconds when you deal damage. So that's why like when you're using Fresha's laser beam, for 5 seconds, when she's dealing damage, she will gain 1.5 more ultimate energy. That's also really good. I think some Fresha Hush enjoyers actually run this with Genji instead. Instead of running 2 Genji squads, they run 1 Genji and like a Phantom squad somewhere else. I could be wrong though. I'm not a fritter scientist. I don't know how to use the laser beam. Okay, I do not know how to use the laser beam, but I know that there is a lot of people who do. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Pretty much covered every single logistics in the game. Ones that are relevant, ones that are not relevant as well. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment below, ask your question, or stop by your stream over here and say hello. I'll be more than happy to help you out there. But yeah, we've had a lot of new players coming to the game, so I just want to make sure there's no confusions, and this can help new players out. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I appreciate you, and take care.